Good morning and welcome to this short lesson on how to improve your grades while shortening the time you spend on assignments via the rubric. This short lesson will help you focus your efforts and time to the areas of importance. This will also help you satisfy the requirements of the assignment, which will in turn improve your grade. By the end of this lesson, you will have learned how to write an assignment within a marking rubric. Using this method to complete your assignments will help you break the project down into smaller parts and enable you to ensure that you have met the criteria for each mark on the rubric. Once you have completed this lesson, you will be able to grade your own assignment prior to submitting. At the bottom of the written form of this lesson, there is an assigned task, including a very basic grading rubric. That is on the left of your screen. This rubric is very much similar in style to the majority of those that are used at every level of learning. Some, by the way, are a great deal more extensive. This is, as I say, a very basic grading rubric. Many will have subdivisions within. By completing this small task on the grading rubric, you will have demonstrated your understanding of this new technique. So at the beginning, I think the most important part is, what is a rubric? This thing we call a rubric has become the norm in most learning environments and has been helpful as well as clarifying for most learners. The definition, however, has been lost to many and never given to some. As a particular note, rubrics have only recently entered the educational forum, and those of us, like myself, an adult learner, re-entering the learning field, we never had rubrics when I did the majority of my schooling, and this would be considered new. So the working definition for rubric in this short lesson will be: rubric is a detailed grading breakdown showing how a submission will be scored and where the marks are allotted, such as here and here. Now, there are other definitions available. I'd recommend you look in Wikipedia, who has a rather extensive definition. There's also the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, who has a very simple definition that clarifies a great deal. In any event, it's important to note that this rubric does not remove all subjectivity. As a note, I'll draw your attention to this first criteria, and it is 4 out of 10, but it does not define exactly where the 4 marks come from. So in many cases there will be a demonstration such as this video that will clarify these. Examples are used as well, but all subjectivity cannot be removed from many, particularly art related processes. But in this case, should we copy the full submission, the full rubric, that would be the 4 out of 10. A partial rubric would be descending, and 0 marks for no copying of the rubric. So that is to assume that if you get the majority of the rubric copied, you would get 3 out of 10. If you get it all, you would get 4 out of 10. If you get half, you get 2 out of 10. Less than that, 1, and down to 0. So that is the simplest process. So on our screen, I have this very basic rubric and a blank Word document directly beside it. I'm simply going to place my cursor at the very bottom, at the last point I want to copy. I'm going to left click on my mouse and mouse over top of the areas that I want to copy right up to the very end, and I'll just check to make sure there is the full piece that I want copied. I have 2 options here. I'm going to left click on the mouse and it gives me a very clear list of options. I'm going to select copy. It is that simple. On the blank document, I'm just going to place my cursor here, and then once again by left clicking I can place my cursor onto the new blank document. By right clicking on my cursor, I'm now giving my paste options. And important to note here that I am working with Microsoft Windows Word 2012 version, but most, if not all, word processing softwares are virtually identical in these processes, and there are several different options, but here we have paste options. I am simply going to choose the first paste option. Not all word processing gives you several different paste options, but in any event, now here we have a new document produced. This is from our existing assignment that I've received. I've extracted our grading scheme or rubric. I'm going to highlight the entire area because we're going to do some work within it, and I want to be able to tell the difference. So let's just highlight the area that we have here. That way we'll be able to tell the difference between anything that we would be entering and something that we may not wish to be highlighting. So let's turn that off now. There we go. And that is off. So anything, well, let's hold that, and we're going to start working within this rubric now. To see what we've done already, 4 to 10 marks, successfully copy and paste the rubric into a new document to become your submission. We've completed all of that. That rubric is completely copied onto a new document. Assuming we can successfully submit this assignment, we've achieved 4 out of 10 marks already, or 40%, which is a long ways for a couple of mouse clicks. That's quite substantial in terms of the amount of completion. We can see here under number 2, our second criteria for marks. Enter a selection for your favorite description of how to copy and paste using Microsoft Word within the rubric. I'm going to remove the highlighting so that I know my submissions, what the parts that I put into this rubric are distinctly different than the rubric itself. I don't want to, when I'm finally cleaning my assignment, to submit portions of the actual rubric. So I'm going to submit as my selection this video. And once again, I do not want this highlighted, so there we go. We have this video is our selection. Because we've looked at the video and we've actually entered it, we can assume that we're achieving both of these two marks. Moving on to number 3, your name and date of the submission are posted at the top of your assignment. So now, rather simple to get to the top of the assignment. We'll place our cursor up there, right at the top. And because I didn't introduce myself earlier, my name is Rick, and we don't want anything highlighted here. Simple. Now we have another mark. We're doing quite well on our assignment. The second mark, name and date of the submission, are posted at the top of this assignment. So a simple date introduction, 22nd of March 2015. And now we can say, as we already know, we have 4 out of 10 for successfully copying and pasting. We've entered our selection for the favorite description of how to copy and paste using Microsoft Word for 2 out of 10. And just as a note, the written version of this lesson has several options on where to go for your description on how to copy and paste. This video works well because it does contain the entire course within it. Our number 3, we have our name and date of submission at the top of the assignment. As we've shown, I would highlight it, but that would be silly, as everything's highlighted in this. So now as we've noted, we have our full 4 out of 10, our full 2 marks for selecting which copy and paste we like the best. Another 2 out of 10 here for our name and date at the top. And number 4, entering your self-marked total at the bottom of this submission, which, as we can see quite easily, that we like to be thorough and make sure we get as many marks as we possibly can, and we're going to do that by making sure that we get everything possible. And in this case, I'm going to say we're going to get 10 out of 10 marks on this entire assignment. And again, removing my my highlighting so I can tell what I've done from the rubric. So now we've confirmed, in fact, we've gotten each mark. We've successfully copied and pasted into the rubric into a new document to become our submission. 4 out of 10. We'll save and submit this file, and that will give us our 4 out of 10 right off the bat. Having watched this video and choosing which video we like to, which method we prefer to learn how to use the copy and paste process, is valid for 2 marks. So we've achieved both those two. That gives us 60% or 6 out of 10 on this assignment by placing our name and the date of completion on the top. We've completed the requirements for section 3 of our rubric, which is another 2 out of 10 marks. That gives us the 80% mark, or 8 out of 10 on this assignment. And the final requirement for success in this assignment is number 4, entering your self-marked total at the bottom, which we've done and completed for a full 10 out of 10 marks. One of the things that I would like to note is this is a rather simple marking rubric, and we do need to be certain that we clean and submit a finished product. We do not want to submit an assignment with the instructor's work within our own. That would simply confuse the matter, and it would very likely be insulting to the person you're sending it into. So let's make sure we clean up our document after the fact and use our rubric to help us make sure we get each individual mark. It's important you do so, because that will allow you the greatest amount of success. I wish you all the best, and thank you for watching my video.